Thank you, Chair. As an introduction, my name is Pierre Killeen. I'm Vice President of Government Relations at Hydropothecary. Hydropothecary is an authorized cannabis producer, medical cannabis producer. We're located in Gatineau, Quebec. We were the first authorized producer in Quebec, and currently we are the only authorized producer in Quebec who is able to sell medical marijuana. As of April 11th, we announced that we are the privileged producer for Quebec, thanks to an agreement with the Société des Alcools du Québec. It's a pleasure for me to appear before this standing committee on questions related to Bill C-74. We'd like to thank committee members for this chance to speak to you, and we'd also like to thank the hundreds of thousands of Canadians who argued for the right to consume medical cannabis in Canada. Without their efforts, we would not have a legal medical cannabis industry in Canada. Today, I will limit my remarks to Part 3 of the bill with regard to excise tax on medical tax. The economic impacts of this measure on our industry. We're an industry that is almost worth $10 billion here in Canada. It has tremendous economic possibilities worldwide, and the industry is worth $50 billion a year worldwide. It creates countless jobs in Canada and hundreds of millions, $100 million in income for the government. Let's examine the political signal sent by Part 3 of this bill.
Opportunities in mind, let's turn our focus to the policy signals that are being sent by C-74. When it comes to adult use recreational cannabis, the excise tax duty that will be imposed on cannabis will be the greater of $1 per gram or 10% of the price of the product. This price should allow legal adult use recreational cannabis to compete with illicit black market cannabis, which operates a very sophisticated market, which sells and delivers cannabis online to Canadians with the tap of a mobile phone. Bill C-74's approach to recreational cannabis sends positive public policy signals to Canadians into the cannabis industry. It says that we are committed to ending the illicit black market. We commend the government for setting the initial excise tax at this rate. When it comes to cannabis for medical purposes, Bill C-74's decision to impose an excise tax on cannabis consumed for therapeutic purposes sends the wrong policy signals. The committee's heard from patient groups and others about the real-life consequences of this decision on Canadians. Let's focus our comments on the consequences of this decision for Canada's cannabis industry. Medical cannabis, as we said before, is going to be a multi-billion-dollar industry on a global level. Recent estimates have pegged this at $55 billion a year by 2025. The therapeutic benefits of medical cannabis for chronic pain relief, cancer, arthritis, and other conditions are really just starting to be understood. Interest in the therapeutic properties of cannabis is driving investment and research by cannabis companies, by the pharmaceutical industry, and by wellness industries in Canada and the world over. At the present time, Canada's cannabis companies are at the forefront of this industry. The prohibitions facing cannabis companies in the United States provide us with a first mover advantage opportunity to create leading companies on a global level. It should also be noted that Canada's approach to medical cannabis is far different from that in the US, and that many experts are of the opinion that our approach to medical cannabis will be the one most likely to be emulated in other parts of the world. The world is watching what we're doing. At this stage, the policy signals we need to send to medical cannabis companies, to investors, and to the world is that Canada supports medical cannabis. Building a world-leading medical cannabis industry means a number of things across a number of public policy domains. When it comes to the fiscal domain, it means incentivizing people to stay in the medical cannabis stream and not discouraging them from doing so. A healthy domestic market is needed in order to drive a healthy export market. It's tough to find successful exporters and businesses with weak domestic demand. The challenges facing our clean tech sector are evidence of this challenge. The challenges facing our clean tech sector are evidence of this challenge. conclusion, we would recommend that Part 3 of Bill C-74 be amended to remove the excise tax on cannabis purchased for medical purposes. Merci, Monsieur le Président. We'd welcome the opportunity to respond.